So let's just get into this box and see what I've got for y'all today. It's not just coral. In fact, first off here, this little one I'm going to show you, it is from J&V. It is a nice little Kentucky agate, or possibly chert. As I cut into it, it looked a lot like that Canadian chert. And then I've got the graveyard plume here. This came from the last box that I opened from Idaho. That was the awesome graveyard plume stuff. It's just, it's so awesome. In fact, let's check it out in UV there. It's got great colors, and I filmed that at the club real quick just to show y'all how amazing it was. So let's go ahead and just slide on over and check out the cutting of these, because honestly, I couldn't resist taking a few of those with me, even though it was supposed to be a coral cutting day. I was like, let's cut some of this graveyard plume, slab it up, see what we get, maybe make some pendants or some cabs, maybe some display pieces. I needed to cut the graveyard plume. So the first two that I'm cutting there are the graveyard. But now is time to get into that coral, so let's get cutting the corals. All right, and it's time for the first reveal. What do we got? It's a winner. And it was winner, winner, chicken dinner. Now, unfortunately, a couple of these I didn't really show to the camera much because due to the gunk or whatever was on them as I was cutting, they kind of looked like duds. And so I thought a few of those were duds until I cleaned them up and got the UV on them and just saw them up close. Honestly, I'm surprised I got so few duds. Well, let's listen to some music, let's cut some more, and we'll get into the UV. Whew, all right, that was a lot of fun to cut those and check them out in the UV. I washed them up pretty good, and I didn't notice until this one dried, but check out the druzy on that. Oh man, beautiful druzy. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, get each pair wet. We're gonna check them out up close on the camera, wet, one at a time, and I'll put them to the side to make sure I go through all of them. This is gonna take a minute, but I'm gonna try and do it quick. Let's go. I'm gonna start right off with one of my favorite ones. This one was super thin. It cut really, really fast. And I did know it had a little something in it. It had the slightest exposure there. Like, it was open and I saw those spots like that. So this did not fall off during cutting. That was just open. So yeah, it actually held together really, really well, considering how fragile this one appears to be. So take a slightly closer look there. Spots of a few colors. Now, I did find that a lot of the yellow does come off. It's all surface. You can see it's popping off there. So if I want, I could remove some of the yellow, but I actually stopped scrubbing because I kind of like the yellow on these. So I'm super thin. Makes kind of a nice noise. And we'll jump over to this one so I can show you what I mean by the yellow coming off. So that's where I was scrubbing it for just a moment with my little scrubby brush. You can see the rust is kind of getting orange and red there, and it's just yellow where it's really light. So I don't know, I might kind of leave the rest there, but it does appear to come off with some scrubbing. So let me get this one wet. And that's got some really cool features down in there. Look at that. Look at a little spray. It's almost like there's the tiny little things spraying all that color and bands into existence. Little volcano just spewing out the agate beauty within the coral. A lot of bands in this one, which just reminded me, ooh, I can't wait to show y'all the one later. I think some of these have potential for parallax and iris, believe it or not. Can't remember if Josh found one he thought might be kind of parallax looking too. Love these. All right, I gotta go quicker. So this one's pretty wild. It's got a lot of gunky, thick outside, all with coral pattern though. With then really awesome bands inside. Very cool dark color. Right here, the bands are like peeling apart. Cool stuff. I am going to edit out some background noises. There's a lot of construction going on and it keeps getting really loud. So if it cuts out, I'm sorry, it's not your audio. I keep muting it most likely during editing here and there for some of the loud noises. This one's pretty cool too. They're all cool. I'm going to keep saying that. I love the like tubey things that you can see deep in there. Looks like that one had a little druzy, but I got it wet, so we're not going to see the little druzy pocket that well. All right, I slightly adjusted my camera, so hopefully I'm a little less shaky trying to hold these up out in front of me and under the camera here. So there's that nice druzy one, and look at the depth in there. I love it. That one's got like swimming pools in it. Kind of purple. Ooh, loving that. Man, this is one of those voiceover parts because the background picked up so loud. Neighbor's dog started barking, you could hear out the window. The construction was loud, they started like jackhammering. And in between those sounds, you could hear my stomach growling because I was filming this before having breakfast. But oh my goodness, look at that color in there. There's just like light purple around the white here and there. And oh, this is one of my favorites for sure. That one, whew. All right, this one's pretty cool. Like I said, I'm gonna keep saying that. I can't help it. I just look at them, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And we'll probably hang out on a live pretty soon here and check some of these out on the live and play with the UV and the macro. Get in and do some of this really close-up examining on a live stream. This one doesn't look like much, but in the UV it had all those little specks that were different colors. This was one of the kind of dud ones. Definitely doesn't look like much. Just definitely got some silicated replacement in there. Almost looks like dino bone right there. The way the coral is. Check that one out in the macro though. It's got some beautiful agate coloring. Yeah, it's really up close there. Love that. Gonna have to cut out the sound of my stomach in the background too, not just the construction, jeez. This one I knew was gonna be good because the entire outside was agatized. Look at that. You could see the clear outside. I didn't do anything to that one. You can just see the awesome clear chalcedony there. Love that. Fully agatized all the way through. That one, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with. There's a small chance I will use the rotary Dremel stuff to polish the outside as well. I might leave it like this and just polish the edges on the flat lap. Man, loving these. This was the first one I cut. And yeah, it was definitely a nice one. A lot of really cool micro features in there. Nice little bots in the center. Nice little micro fortifications down there. This one's pretty cool too. Show you before it's wet. Just to show you how much the bands pop up here. Look at that. Totally changes it. See way more of the bands. That is a really cool piece. And how many times did I say cool in this video? This one was one of the kind of duds. I wasn't sure which way I wanted to cut it. Had a really interesting shape, but I went with this direction. And it's still got some nice stuff in there, but it's got a lot of kind of grody gunk. Some not totally fortified filled in spots through the center. So this one needed a little more time to bake, a few thousand more years maybe. I saved the kind of duddy ones for the end here. This has just got a lot of the coral pattern still in it. So that's how they get fossilized, is they leave behind the coral pattern here, And that is what slowly gets filled in with chalcedony. And as the coral stuff wears away and gets eaten away by acidic waters, chalcedony is able to fill in more of it and replace all that little cell structure. And that's why on some of the pieces we have nice chalcedony in that pattern. Here's another one we can see it started to fill in, but definitely not all the way. I really like the colors in some of these. A few of these have some like barnacle guys on them. That's what some of these pockets are all around them, is just like barnacles that were attached to the corals. Right there. Barnacle that the coral grew around. Or whatever they are. They might be not exactly barnacles, but maybe little clammy things or something. Karen told us once, I forgot, maybe they were a type of clam. Ken or Karen mentioned it in a previous video. Look at that. Micro, ooh. Get in there on those little eyes, look at that. Oh, that's really cool. Those are so tiny. Tiny little eyes in there. Look how small those are. Ooh, loving that one. All right, now we'll get into the ones I cut up for pendants. This one was full of gunk. I had to clean it out quite a bit. It's got some nice colors down in there. It's got some nice colors. Looks like some purple deep down in there. I'm really glad I cut this one the way I did. Now, these are all the ones I cut for like pendant type pieces, and I'm pretty sure these ones definitely went together, but I feel like a couple of these came off of that end. I just don't remember which ones. These were one, that was another one. Maybe this was the end of that, I don't know. That one's definitely a single one. This one got weird, that I like had a skinny end and then went to this, so maybe it was like that. That might have been this one actually. I think that one with this guy, I don't know. Some of these might be out of order, but let's take a quick look at all the little pendant pieces I cut here. Then we'll check out the graveyard and the stuff from Jeff, that weird shirty, agate stuff. All right, let's jump into it. These are gonna make really cool pendants. Might drill a hole in that one. Drill a hole in the top of these, or I was just thinking, honestly, polish them the way they are and loop a string through the hole and they can just hang as pendants. Not sure about the gunky bottom part. Could do something wild and carve that out just enough and put a crystal point in there. Have like a crystal hanging off of it. Start making some Frankenstein pieces of different things together. Yeah, those will be nice. It's another one. Little dots inside, nice banding. Good stuff. All right, I was getting the table a little gross, so I got the towel out, but check this out. I noticed while examining some of these in the light, like, can't see it yet, but let's grab a flashlight and see if I can show you. These look to have the potential for iris or parallax if they were cut thinner. Can't really see it too much on that one, but there's definitely a few of these that when I saw them, I was like, whoa, that's got a play of the light, and it looks like it could make some rainbows and nice like iris or parallax. In fact, I'm gonna jump outside and I'm gonna show you this one in the sunlight. It's hard to see, but it's definitely playing with the light in the bands. And I think if I cut some of these thinner, we'd definitely get some parallax or iris in there. What do you think? Sorry about the construction. Look at that. That looks like that's gonna be iris, right? Ooh, what do y'all think? So I think I might use this end piece and try and cut some really, really thin ones and expose some of that potential iris parallax stuff. So it's very, I don't know, it's unsuspecting. Looking at it like this, you might be like, oh, that's a nice piece for iris, but that's pretty thick cut. And yet I'm still getting some good light play with these. Ooh, I like the black in that one. Reminds me of Montana agates, black dendrites and such. All right, this is my other favorite cut of the day. Absolutely amazing. That couldn't have gone any better. None of them broke. I've got the end pieces here, and this one has a purple eyeball in it. Really cool. Cut it just right to make like this creepy little purple eyeball. These are gonna be some nice pendants right here, I think. I'm not sure whether or not I want to remove the outside or just do some like flat polish. Might do a couple different ways. Somewhere I grind down the outside. Gonna have to use the Dremel because the flat lap won't get those inner edges. But some of them where I just polish them flat and leave them as is. Yeah, that one is really nice. I'll show you some of these with some backlighting here as well. Again, potential for iris. These ones had some nice play with the light and the banding. This flashlight doesn't show it as much as the sunlight does, but right up there you can see it. Just ever so slightly. And this is the other end of that. I've been working pretty hard to clean this one up. When I cut it, I saw these little banded bits here, but it was filled with mud all the way to the end there. And this whole cavity was filled with a heavy, heavy clay. Very rusted. It was turning all the water red yellow. So I was cleaning it out, but that whole cavity was just packed with that dense, dense clay in there. And I'm still working on picking it out. That one was a bit of a pain to clean. But that's the little end cap from those. And then this is like a branch coming off, and then it split into some other branches, and I kept cutting them up, but I haven't finished this one. I think we can get some more slices out of that to get more little coin-like pieces here. Be kind of nice if some of them were just the right size to make a ring out of, huh? Cut the inside smooth and the outside and make like a coral agate ring someone could wear. If we get lucky, I'll get some just the right size to do that. That could be kind of fun. Ooh, that one's got a little tube going up into the bot. Very nice. Some really cool coloration in there. This one's interesting. As soon as it touches the water, it fizzes. It's just normal water, but it fizzes like crazy in the water. I don't know what is going on. Maybe it's just really porous and there's a lot of air. Yeah, look, there's air shooting out right there. Little bubbles coming out everywhere. This one reacts like crazy when I put it in the water though. Almost like it was being dropped in vinegar or acid. And those ones came off of this bigger piece. Oh, it's got kind of cool hidden banding in there. It's really white. But those were sliced off of this bigger chunk here. Another branchy one that just cut up the branches. Wanted to see what was inside. Look at that, the bands were like falling apart. Kind of soft and opaly maybe. So I was scrubbing it, little pieces were just flaking off. Super soft. A couple other pieces off of that last one. And last, but maybe not least, because this is the first one I showed on that UV clip, this one has some pretty cool color and some weird little features. Lots of little bots, but it's kind of dull and white. A little bit boring, but still really cool in the UV. Oh, that one's got a wild face on it. Look at him screaming, ah! Let's look at that one in the UV actually. All right, it's kind of bright in here, but let's see what we get. Yeah, they still had nice little glow in them. A little more color at night, that green or yellow or whatever. Alrighty, and some of the last ones I have to show you is this stuff from JNV. He thought it was some sort of chalcedony agate stuff he found in Kentucky. It was one of his first videos he ever published, and this is one of the pieces in his video. It's got some weird little silication there, but it just doesn't kind of look like your typical chalcedony. And when I finally sliced it a year after he sent it to me, I went, hey, that looks a lot like the chert stuff from the seabed, that Canadian stuff I was just recently sent. So I'm wondering if it's like chert that's very, very, very heavily silicated. So it's a hybrid chalcedony and chert possibly. Just the smallest bit of color up in there. But it kind of just looks like a cloudy, cherty goodness. Bit of light comes through it, but definitely not much. It's a fairly thin slab. Normal size slab really, but not a lot of light comes through. Still a cool material. There's not a lot in the UV, and I can't really show you what little there is now with how much daylight's here, but it's got the most mild glow to it. So we'll take a closer look at that one when I cab these up in a future video. Now we're gonna check out some of this stuff. I actually don't know if this one's graveyard. It came in the box with the graveyard plume, but this one is weird. This one might not actually be graveyard plume as I mentioned it being before. Might be completely off with that. But man, does it have some nice UV. This one even shows in the daytime, the UV is so strong. So, still got some more of that. Can cut more as needed. Got a nice little druzy pocket in it. Some crystally little goodness. And then this one, it wasn't too exciting looking. This one I'm pretty sure is the graveyard plume. It's got the right color and look. That definitely looks like graveyard plume. Though kind of a funky piece. Got a brecciated mass at the bottom there. So breccia and then plume agate. Whew, holy cow, that was a long one. But guess what? Got my closet organized, finally. That's great. Things are starting to get labeled. I've got bins everywhere with the different stuff getting organized. I've got drawers just for my slabs. I got drawers just for my cablets. Starting to get put together. I still just need to finish making my display shelf an actual display shelf. For the longest time, it was just a big mass of rocks. In fact, I'll show you before now so that in a week or two when it's done, I can show you just a difference. Let's take a quick peek in there. All right, some things are still being moved. I got some extra foam that I may send to people who need it for things like soundproofing, like for tumblers and stuff. This foam is great. I also use it sometimes for packing materials, but I've got lots of my slabs and cablets and roughs there. I'm starting to get some stuff organized here and actually like categorized into different sections. It is a total mess in there still. It's kind of just filling the bins with what matches what, and then was picking out stuff that I want to display and throwing it up on the shelves here. Got some of my cabs, a whole bunch of my favorite minerals and such, and yeah, just more minerals and such and stuff and things. And we're gonna yeah, organize it all, make it all nice and pretty. A big old fluorite and calcite. There, whew. We were just doing, since it's a theme for today, for those of you who haven't seen this, here is a really nice agatized coral, also from Florida. Likely from the same area that those came from. But this one, whew, this one's a beast. Look at that. This was a really good trade. And honestly, I need to hit up the guy. Haven't talked to him in a minute. Someone else with the same name was contacting me and I was talking to, and I didn't realize it wasn't the same guy. He must have been really confused when I brought up this coral. All right, thank you all for watching. As always, big thanks to my Patreon members. Thank you, Lisa, for rejoining. Thanks, Jeff, for being one of my top members always. And thanks to all of you. There is a Patreon appreciation show coming up soon, as well as for the channel members. Keep an eye out. It's not soon. Shouldn't say that really because it's a couple months away, but it's going to be a big one for the holidays. I'm working on a couple special things to send all of my Patreon members and then some of the channel members that'll get lucky enough to be pulled in the giveaway drawings. So, see y'all soon. Have a great day. Bye.